For the best deals, the most awesome giveaways on sensory toys, educational tools, and kid products all in one spot. This is Sensory Deal Live. Hey y'all, Angela here. Today we're talking about creating your own calming corner, a safe, cozy space where your child can unwind, de stress, and find inner peace. A calm down corner can serve as a powerful source for managing challenging emotions and promoting mindfulness and well being. Whether your child is feeling anxious, overwhelmed, or simply in need of some self care. In this show, we will explore the benefits of having a calm down corner, some key elements to include in your space, and tips for making the most out of your calming corner. We'll also answer any questions you might have about creating your own calming space at home. If you're ready to find some peace and tranquility in the midst of a busy world, then stick around and let's get started. Hey y'all, how are you doing? We are so excited for you to be here with us this evening. Please feel free to comment or send any questions you may have our way. We would love to hear from everyone. And if you are watching a replay, please comment hashtag replay. We would love to hear from you guys as well. Today, I am joined with none other than Lackey Kid CEO and proud dad of Keanu, an autistic genius. Help me welcome Jason Shea.
Hey, thank you for having me. I haven't been back on the show for a while. I like to do the button smashing on the background more than often.
Well,
So
thank you for being on the show this time and not in the background hiding.
yeah.
So, how did your family's autism journey start?
So our journey is an interesting one. So in 2000, for those of you who haven't followed my story yet, again, my name is Jason Shea, and I have three kids. My oldest is now 12. Then we have that's a boy. He have autism, ADHD. Then we have a daughter. She's 9, and the youngest is 5. So our journey started back in Japan. So my wife is Japanese and Taiwanese, so I do speak Chinese and Japanese as well fluently. So English is my third language, so I still have a little bit of accent. However, back to the story is 2013. My son was 3, and we learned about his diagnosis while living in Tokyo, Japan at the time. For those of you that never been to any country in Asia, um, disability is a taboo topic in Asia. Just like people don't talk about sex in Asia, disability is kind of the same level of taboo. So with that kind of mindset of being a taboo topic, that lead to lack of opportunity, lack of resources, lack of therapy. So when we were living in Tokyo back then, we can only find two therapy center actually that in the entire Tokyo metropolitan area for our son back then. So that was not a really good situation, as a lot of people that's watching that might also have kids with special needs. We are all parents, we're trying to find out what's the best way that we can help them with their life. And that was the time where me and my wife decided, okay, this is not going to be a very good situation to be in, and we decided to move to United States in 2015. So in 2015 we moved back to United States because I have dual citizenship. I have Taiwanese citizenship and I have US citizenship. I went to high school in California and I graduated from UC Santa Barbara actually.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, so I think I didn't tell you that, so maybe you didn't know that about me. So yeah, we moved back. Well, I moved back. My wife, for her, is her first time living in the United States, obviously. So it was a big transition, as you can imagine, moving to a country that you know a little bit about, and you don't even speak the language. My wife doesn't speak that much English when we first moved. So that's kind of how our journey kind of started. But so in 2015 we moved, but we find out US is one of the worst country when it comes to medical insurance. he doesn't pay for any of the therapy, especially like ABA therapies, some occupational therapists. Of course, nowadays it's a lot easier nowadays. But back in 2015, when I first moved back, it wasn't as easy to get coverage and get like reimbursed by the insurance. So everything was out of pocket. So being a entrepreneur that I was, I decided to start a business on the side to pay for the additional expenses. That was the origin of Lucky Kid in 2017. So,
That's so cool to hear. Yeah, I did not know about the dual citizenship. That was new.
yeah, actually, my son have three. My son have Taiwanese Taiwan passport, Japan passport, and U.S. passport. I call him our international spy here. So
Right? That's so cool. I didn't know that either.
yeah,
Now, with some kids, because like with mine, I've noticed that different things help with sensory input with them. So it's not just one type of product. How
yeah.
do different textures, lights, sounds, and taste affect a person's sensory mood?
I think that's kind of it depends on the individual. I can also give some example about my son, but let me talk about like the most common, I guess, sensory related issue. Number one, first, texture. Different texture can feel good or bad to a person, depends on their individual preference. Some people might enjoy soft, smooth texture, while others prefer more like bumpy texture. That is also true for my son. For him, when he was younger, he was highly sensitive to touch, so texture pretty much. And for him, getting a haircut is almost like torturing him. So we struggle a lot on taking him to the barber shop. But when I don't remember what age, but when he become older nowadays, he doesn't have any issue with that anymore. I don't know why I'm not a medical professional. I'm just a dad that's passionate about this topic. So I didn't know exactly why he all of a sudden doesn't have issue with barbershop anymore. Nowadays he will actually ask me, he's like, "Oh, when are we going to get a haircut next, Dad?" It's like, "Oh, okay, sure, we'll go." But now it's like the opposite. Before I need to drag him and tie him down to take him to the barbershop, which maybe Angela you can also relate with your kids.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's like an example of texture. And another very common one for the kids with special needs is really sound. So loud or unexpected sound can be overwhelming or scary for some people, while soft or repetitive sound might be calming. And different type of music or sound can also create different mood. For my son, when he was much younger, he also have issue on being in like places that's loud. Like for example, taking him to like a stadium. But nowadays he doesn't. I mean, that doesn't bother him as much. I mean, if it's still too loud, he still bother him, but he doesn't really need to wear like a noise canceling headphone in public anymore. So I
That's
think, of
good.
course, yeah, I guess every single case is different. So I mean, your son or your kid will be very different than my son. So it depends on the kids, and I would say, and every single kid react differently, and also changes as they grow. I mean, based on my personal experience and observation. So
Yes, I can definitely understand with the haircuts. That's a bit of a traumatic nightmare, I think, for the whole family with me
yeah,
and with my son. He's a little
yeah,
bit better now, but
hmm
it's because daddy's doing it. But say if I
hmm
were to try, it would be a no go. And we took him. I
yeah,
get embarrassed because we take him and he used to have huge meltdowns. And I'm like, okay, we're not going to force him to do this. We're sorry we
hmm
wasted your time. Here's at least
yeah,
a tip because you
yeah,
didn't do a haircut, so I'm not paying for a haircut.
yeah, for sure.
Um, but yeah, definitely haircuts are a big thing. I with him, he's very with my son. He's very sensory sensitive, is how I put it.
Hmm hmm
Loud noises. We do have headphones for like fireworks and stuff like that. There's
hmm
loud music in the neighborhood because we have
hmm
a our neighbors like to blast the music. He has to have headphones as well.
yeah,
The noise canceling. So we have those two for him.
hmm
He doesn't like mashed potatoes, and I'm assuming it's the texture. So
yeah,
he has some texture issues too. So I can completely relate with my son, and I
hmm
think my daughter, some of us, she's kind of grown out of too. She's 11 now, so some of
hmm
the things that probably bothered her when she was 5, 4, and 6
hmm
are they don't bother her as much, and I assume it's just she's gotten so used to it. She's like, okay, now I know the routine, if I
Mm,
just relax and just let it happen, then you know what
mm,
I mean? It'll be a better,
yeah.
enjoyable experience. Because with her, her big thing was picky eating.
Mm,
Her, and I think it was textures too, but her big thing was picky eating.
mm,
And then like with school, instead of doing the assignment she's supposed to do, she goes
mm.
and squirrels and reads a book. And you can't get mad at a
Oh,
child for reading a book in a corner, you know? So
yeah.
it's, okay, we'll make that your calming corner. You know, we'll start designing it around your little area.
Yeah, yeah, which is what we're gonna be talking about
Yes.
mainly today. So yes.
And then the next
So
one is going to be conversely, how do tools like fidget and weighted items affect a person's sensory mood?
yeah, that's a good question, and I think it again going back to is individualized. I would say sensory issue might affect different senses differently, and can have a more severe or less severe impact on your kid's life or your family's life. But I'm just going to touch on it on several different elements. First, fidgets. So fidgets are usually small items or toys that individual can manipulate with their hands. For example, this is one of Lucky Kids toy, which I'm going to also show it in a picture here. So this is one of the product we also design and sell here at Lucky Kid, and this is a fidget marble maze. And what it does is you have a small marble that you can push through the maze. It's a silent fidget toy, so instead of a fidget spinner that's more distracting to other kids in the same room, our fidget marble maze is a little bit more like more discreet. And this kind of feature can also help individual with sensory issue by providing a way to channel their excess energy or anxiety by focusing on manipulating the fidget, like the one I was just showing. And individual can redirect their attention away from the sensory stimuli that might be overwhelming or distracting. And so that's one. And the second type that is often brought up when we come to sensory issue is usually weighted items, like weighted product, like a weighted blanket, weighted vest, or weighted stuffed animal, which we have a few. Let me actually bring one.
I have the neck pillow right here.
Right there. Yeah, I need to find one somewhere in my room. Yeah, so Angela is showing the one that right here. So it's like a weighted neck pillow that you can put on the neck. It's designed for the younger kid, so it does look a little bit small on Angela, uh but it's usually designed for, I would say, kids 3 to 12. Of course, it depends on the kids. Our weighted neck pillow or weighted neck puppy, the weight is removable. There's a zipper that you can actually open it and take the weight out and replace it with something heavier or lighter. Depends on your kid's preference. But this kind of weighted product provide a deep pressure stimulation that can be both calming and smoothing for individuals with sensory issues. And the added weight can help regulate the nervous system and provide a sense of security and comfort. So yeah, so that's kind of the main two type of product that most people is familiar with when it comes to like sensory needs and sensory issues. So
I completely agree with you. And actually, the marble mazes, what I'm coming to find out, because I'm getting my daughter ready for her 401 plan.
oh,
Um,
mhm,
yeah, so they were like, any silent fidget toys can be approved. So I'm like, well,
mhm.
I've already got that. You know, I'm not gonna let you just tell
Nice,
me what she's allowed to have. But
nice.
I've explained the marble maze to them, and they love the fact that it is silent
Uh,
because, like, the fidget chair band during
mhm,
testing for K-12 virtual learning school students, they at the end of the year have to do state testing in person.
mhm. Okay.
So she needs something because she's going to
Mm,
be in that room for about 2 to 3 hours at a time. And it's
yeah.
going to be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So, so I figured get started now. I know I'm a little late on it, but they're going to
Yeah.
try to fast track us.
Okay.
But this is one that they love because of the fact that it doesn't make any noise. Like the fidget chair band, unfortunately, if the kids get a little too excited, it can tend to make a little bit of noise.
Yeah.
So that
True.
would not be approved.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I'm learning is what is approved and what's not with the school board
Mhm,
for
mhm.
in-person testing. So that's
Yeah.
something new I'm
We
learning.
also have a fidget popper that does make a little bit of noise.
Yeah, this I'm not going
So
to put in her bag, but we have so many other things.
so, yeah. Yeah, and
Um,
I'll probably have alphabet on it. I know it's really hard to see on the camera, but it does have alphabet on it as
let
well.
me
It's
try.
really hard to see on the
Yeah.
camera. So yeah.
Alrighty. And then also, is there a standard calm down corner setup?
I don't think that's a standard setup. I think before you set it up, first you need to kind of consider a few things. Is uh, what okay, so the few things that we talk about, like the consideration when you are like deciding on where to put your countdown corner at. First, when choosing a location, it's important to consider the need of your child and the layout of your house. So some places in home that work well for a countdown corner usually is either a quiet room, like such as a spare bedroom or a room that doesn't get a lot of traffic, could be an excellent location for a countdown corner. This provide a quiet space away from distraction. Or if you don't have a spare room, considering create a corner inside your kids' room. This can be created with a small table or a chair and some pillow. Or some parent I talk to, they just buy one of those tent, like kids tent, and they put item inside the kids tent as the countdown corner. Or if you have a reading area in your house, you can turn the reading area into a cozy and a countdown corners, because now you are hitting two birds with one stone. They are feeling calm and they are reading a book at the same time. So perfect. So,
And reading a
so
book
that's
is
a few
also
ways.
another calm down tool that you can use too, especially if your child loves to read.
For sure, for sure. And another place you can consider, if you have a staircase, if you have two-story that have an empty space underneath, you can consider in creating like a cozy space or a countdown corner space down there. It could be a unique, fun location for a countdown corner as well. However, caveat is, do not use the countdown corner as like a timeout corner. Never, you should always use it for positive reinforcement, not for punishment. And do not do what they do in the Harry Potter and put your kids under the stairway as a punishment. So that's not what a countdown corner is supposed to be for. And also, the other idea is, weather permit, you can also have an outdoor space, such as a porch or like a small garden, maybe that can be a great location for the countdown corner outdoor. Being outside in nature itself can be calming and restorative for both the children and adult. However, in Phoenix, I live in Phoenix. So outdoor it get really hot during the summer. So, but when it's not during the summer, it definitely outdoor will work fine. So those are a couple different locations that you can consider. And going back to setting it up, we can. I think later on in today's discussion, we'll also talk about different items to include and avoid as well. But setting up, there's also a few things you, besides location. Now I just talk about the location, which is a lot to consider already. But besides the location, you also want to consider the purpose of the countdown corner. Is it to help your child calm down while they are upset? Or is it a place for them to take a break when they need some quiet time? You need to make it very clear, and ideally talk to your child about it. Because like, okay, like dad and mom is really thinking about creating a space that can help you when you feel overly anxious. What do you want to be in this space? And to have an open dialogue and open conversation with your kid about it, I think is collect is a family project. So you should be discussing and make sure it's a comfortable space. Ensure the countdown corner is comfortable and inviting. Consider adding soft cushions, blanket, even the weighted animals to make it more welcoming. And also, uh, you want to make sure it's safe. So safety is also very important. You need to make sure it doesn't have any like electrical outlet in the space, or any item that could be harmful or dangerous in the space. So for example, you don't want to put a scissor in the countdown corner, for example. And accessibility, make sure it's easily accessible for your child. And of course, I just mentioned about communication. Discuss about the countdown corner with your child and explain the purposes, and let them know it's a space where they can go to calm down when they are upset or overwhelmed. And last but not least, boundary. Establish a clear boundary and expectation for using the countdown corner. Let your child know that it is a peaceful space and they should use it appropriately. So those are all the things that you should consider when you're setting up a countdown corner. Of course, there's no standard way of setting it up. It should be personalized depending on your child. So.
I definitely agree with you. Like with Skylar, he's big on the calm down corner. So we had a nice setup. Then he got a new bed for his birthday. So now we're trying to figure out a new setup. And then when he saw that our topic this week was calm down corner, he was like, I got to make me a new one. So he made him a quick makeshift one today.
Nice. Nice, nice. What do you have? Well, we can talk about like how do you set it up then, like for your countdown corner?
What I do, like with my daughter, we had a nice little corner because she likes to read. So we did have it near her bookshelf, but not to
Mhm.
where something could fall on her,
Mm.
So with her, we did a little corner. We had some pillows. We got these little, it's a bed tent. So it's not like the normal triangular tent. It's one that you put from the end of your bed to the other side. So it's kind of like a moon shaped crescent. So we were
Mm.
using those as like their little, instead of blankets or anything like that, we use that to cover it to kind of give them, like a cave like feeling. So they feel like it's their own space. We joke and say it's the Skylar cave, instead of the Bat cave or man cave.
Mhm. Oh,
And
okay.
then we lay one blanket down, so that's like the floor, kind of like with toddlers you use when you do playtime and you try to work with them. You put a blanket down and you stay in that blanket square. So with
Nice.
them, I lay a blanket down, so that's their foundation, and then we put some pillows around where the walls especially are, and then I let them pick the blanket, pick which pillows to do, because we don't want to do too many pillows and then they can't really work around there. And then I let them pick a few things. And what's cool is I went to Dollar Tree and just got this little guy, and I put all
Oh,
the stuff in it, so it's
good
easy
idea.
access and it's not going to be all over the place.
That's a good idea. You keep it more tidy and organized. That's important too. So,
I'm a Virgo, so tidy and organization's big. But
yeah.
we have Michelle. Hey, Michelle, how are you? She said hello. I
Oh yeah.
saw a comment. All right. So now, what are some questions parents can ask their OT therapist to help decide what calm down corner setup to do? Like,
Mhm.
I'll let you say it.
So, of course, I'm not a therapist, so I'm not giving out medical advice here. Just quick disclaimer. But there's a few things to think about as a parent. First of all, like what are the sensory tool or strategy that would be beneficial to include in the countdown corner for my child? Because each child is different. So, for those of you that is currently doing OT, I'm pretty sure when you start the OT, they should done a sensory assessment on your child as well. If you haven't done so or your OT haven't done so, ask for them to do one. Based on that assessment, they can give you some guidance on what kind of item or what kind of thing you should be including in the countdown corner. And also, you can also ask them what lighting should be, what kind of lighting should be used in the countdown corner to promote relaxation and calmness. Usually, a lot of people will use it like blue and like soft lighting. That's pretty common. And also, what kind of color and texture would be appropriate for a countdown corner? Like the typical OT can give you all this kind of guidance. And also, you can add, I already mentioned about the locations earlier. So that's something for you to discuss. And you can also discuss that with your occupational therapist. And I will also ask them, like, what kind of maybe activities, specific activities or a tool that should be included inside the countdown corner that they find it helpful. Because sometimes a lot of the OT, at least when my son was doing occupational therapist therapy, he actually graduated from OT a couple years ago, so we don't go to one anymore. But when he was doing it, the OT usually will do like activities every single session because I sometimes sit into the session and just watch the session so I know what to do at home. So sometimes they will play like board game together or they play some different activity together. So you can consider having the same activity at home too. You know, the activity that the kiddo is doing with the OT at the therapy center could be the same activity that you also do it with the kiddo at home as well. So those are some of the questions I can think of. And maybe another question is what are a good strategy for transitioning my child in and out of the countdown corner effectively. Because maybe once your kids get into countdown corner, they don't want to come out of the countdown corner. So that's something you need to discuss with the OT on the strategy. And also, what are the potential challenges or consideration that you should keep in mind when you are setting it up, the countdown corner specifically for your child? So,
Those are good questions to ask for sure. My son is currently in OT therapy. He was going twice a week. Now he's going once a week. And basically, one big tip I would say is ask your OT therapist what does he or she use during their therapy sessions that they
mhm.
can tell actually works. Because there's
Mm, good
some
question.
things that not all items are going to work with every kid. So
Yeah.
maybe she or they use a certain
Mhm,
product that they just see your child really interacting well with, so then you have an idea of what also to look for when
mhm.
it comes to that. And I love the idea about the lighting. My son with his new loft bed just got like those LED strips, and he keeps it
Mm,
on a blue color, and I never thought about it this way, but then you just
yeah,
said blue calming, and I'm like,
yeah.
okay, light bulb.
Yeah,
So
blue is
he's
coming,
got
yeah.
those LED strips that you can
Yeah,
just stick. So that's another good
yeah,
one.
for sure, for sure, for sure. So
And I know we've already talked about some items, but what items should be included and also should be avoided too?
sure. So I have a list. I make some note here. So the thing to include it can include like a soft cushion, a pillow, a blanket, and a stuffed animal. Well, preferably a weighted one, and sensory item like stress ball, fidget toys, or any kind of textile items. So our fidget marble maze will be a good one. And also books and other coming activities. Others like you can have coloring books or puzzles or art supplies. But just make sure if you include like coloring book in there, make sure you use like a water pen one. So we actually have a perfect product for it. It's our rideable weighted blanket with a water pen. So because they have a pen, you don't want them to draw everywhere around the countdown corner. So like some kind of water pen will be nice. So that's something to consider. And also, you can have a white noise machine or some kind of music in that space to create a more smoothing environment. And another idea, you can also create, you can also include those aroma diffuser in the
Oh,
space. So now you can have like lavender smell in the space that help them calm down as well, because you want to utilize all the senses. So sound is with the music, then you have the smell with the diffuser lavenders, then with the lighting, which is the sight, you can use blue. You're just trying to like incorporate as many calming senses as you can to help them re-regulate themselves after they get agitated for whatever the reason. And also a timer to help your child keep track of their time in the countdown corner. That also helps with transitions. Okay, every single time you're going in here, we are expecting you to spend like 15 minutes in there, not 2 hours in there and never come out. So, and
I
also,
do I
yeah,
do know my son has transition issues, so we do use a
yeah,
timer a lot to
timer
help
will
that.
help. Yeah, and also positive affirmations or like some kind of calming like quote on the wall as well. Like you can decorate it in a way that is to your child's preference as well. So for example, my son like dinosaur and he likes space, so some kind of like space poster or like a dinosaur poster will make it more personalized. So that is all the thing to include. What are the thing to avoid is you do not want to put an electronic device in the countdown corner. That kind of go the opposite of a countdown corner, because it's not a video game corner. You don't want to put a Nintendo Switch there, then they just play for like 2 hours in there and never come out. So that's one thing. And I see there's a comment here. It said your idea of utilizing all the senses, and people don't tend to think about how all the senses work together and can be work together in coming down. Yes, yeah, thank you for the comment. Yes, that's correct. You want to utilize as many senses as possible when you're utilizing the countdown corner. But going back to the things to avoid, I just mentioned electronic devices. The second is for the items that you want to include in there, or toys you want to include in there, make sure they are not overstimulating or like overly distracting. And also you don't want to include anything that might make a lot of noise in the countdown corner. That can actually increase anxiety and stress instead of calming them down. And also, like Angela was saying, you want to keep the space kind of organized and clean. So too much clutter or too many items in the countdown corner might have the opposite effect and overwhelm your child. And I also mentioned it earlier, but I want to mention it again. Do not, I will repeat, do not use it as a punishment or negative reinforcement. That's important because then kids won't want to use it at all. And also safety, anything that might cause harm or dangerous, sharp or heavy project, heavy object, do not include it in the countdown corner. So by including those items that promote relaxation and avoiding the item that might cause overstimulation or harm, you can now create a calming and safe environment for your child to regulate their emotion and behavior. So, oh, I think Angela, you're muted for some reason. Let me unmute
Sorry,
it.
I had a baby crying in the background. So
No
I muted
problem.
myself so I didn't get in the background.
No problem. That
I have
happens.
some sick kiddos,
Understand.
but they're getting better.
Yeah.
They got medicine.
Yeah.
So I do love what you meant when about the electronics, because that could also be more of a trigger than a calmer. Because I know with my son, if
Yeah.
he's playing, say, Roblox or something, and he dies or something like that, he gets mad and throws the phone, and I'm like, no, the
My son
phone.
do the same. My son do the same thing. Yeah. So
Yeah,
exactly.
so
So,
that one I completely agree with. And then I do love the aromatherapy, like the other person mentioned too on our viewers, because with that, the with it attacks both of them. So if you have a calming light and then they've got the weighted lap pad or something for them to focus on, then that helps stimulate all around. And then with the punishment one. I agree with Skylar when he's getting frustrated. I don't just say go to your calming corner. Go chill out. I'm like, do you
yeah.
need a calming corner? Yes or no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Breathe, help with the
Mhm.
breathing so they don't get too overwhelmed. And then you ask, what do you want? Do you need a weighted item right now if they don't want to move?
Mhm.
And I ask. So I give
Mhm.
him the options of what he wants. So it's not me make him go to his corner.
Mhm. Mhm. That's correct. Yeah.
And then, what role does your child play in creating the space? So, what things would we have a child to help keep them involved with the whole process?
Yeah. So a couple of things to consider when you're involving your child in the process of making the countdown corner is to first explain the purposes, like I mentioned earlier. Begin by explaining to your child the purpose of creating the countdown corner and why you think it will be helpful for them. To make sure to use a language that they can understand and ask them if they have any questions. And also get your child involved, brainstorm the idea together. Ask your child what would they like to have in their countdown corner. Encourage them to think of the item that will make them feel relaxed, comfortable, and happy, and create a plan together. Once you have some idea, work together on creating a plan for a countdown corner. Decide on the locations, item to include, what are the rules, expectations for using the space. Then you go shopping together. Go shop for supplies. Take your child shopping for supplies to decorate and furnish the countdown corner together. Let them pick what item they like, such as pillows, blankets, sensory toys, and decorate the space together. Work together to decorate the countdown corner, such as hanging up the poster or include the items or rearrange the space. And also use and evaluate the space. Encourage your child to use the countdown corner whenever they need a break or feel overwhelmed. After some time has passed, check in with your child to see how the countdown corner is working for them, if there are any changes they would like to make. And by involving your child in the process of making the countdown corner, you can create a space that will meet their individual needs and preferences. This can also help your child feel more in control of their emotions and behavior, leading to a greater sense of confidence and also empowerment as well. So,
I completely agree. And plus, the shopping part's always the funnest, seeing the kids bright up and they're like, ooh, even if it is online shopping Amazon looking for things, they still they still have
Yeah.
a kick on it. Jamie Phillips wrote a comment, says, we say, do you need a brain break?
Mm.
A and then a calm place with less stimulation is what we use.
That's a good way to put it as well.
Yes,
Thank
brain
you for
break. I
sharing.
agree.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Now, I know we've talked about some of these already, but what places at home work better than others? Do you think? Have you tried different areas in your house with your calming corners?
Yeah, actually, I shared that earlier. Actually, maybe I answered the question a little bit earlier because, but like the location for us to use before is we did it under the stair before in the previous house. Right now, we are living in the apartment. My new house is not complete yet, so I'm still living in the apartment. So we don't really have a lot of space to dedicate it to a countdown corner. But when we're living in the previous house, we used to try under the stairway, and that become too many stuff because we put other stuff into the onto the stairway as a storage sometimes, so that become too overwhelming. Then we end up just creating a corner out of his room. But I think last time when we did it, we didn't really create or set a very clear expectations, and it turned out to be a Pokemon corner at the end. It's like full of Pokemon. So, oh, it's a place to decorate my Pokemon. So okay, so that's not really a countdown corner, but we tried a few things, but and one thing I can never figure it out. I don't know, is that true for your kids as well, or for the people that's watching? My son tend to use the stair itself as a countdown corner. The stair. So he would be just laying on the stair, like blocking everyone, like going up and down the stairs. But he put his toys there, like just like blocking the whole stairway. I don't know why, but for him, it was some like you have some kind of calming effect. I couldn't figure out why. I tried to ask the therapist that we're working with back then. They don't know why, but maybe it's just him or something individual like he like to do. But that's for my son. That was the coming corner for him. It was the stairway that when you have two storage, you have a stairway where there's a in between space kind of.
Yeah.
So he used that as his come down corner for some
Oh,
reason.
that's
So
awesome. Maybe
yeah.
because it's more narrow spacing, so maybe it kind of felt like his own little cave, but bigger.
Yeah, but he's blocking the traffic.
But his sisters can't get up and do what they need to do.
Exactly. So yeah, it's kind of funny.
Mommy can't go put
Yeah,
your clothes up.
I know. So yeah, so let's see. Gigi, I'll
Gigi.
have a question. Do your children ever fall asleep in their content corner? Yes, yes, yeah, they do. They do.
My
Yeah,
son fell asleep
yeah,
in his makeshift
yeah.
one today, but he put a little cot. Like when we travel, he has his own
Mm.
little cot, So
Oh, okay.
he put that under there and he's been laying under there.
I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They do fall asleep in there because it's calming. You naturally fall asleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gigi also says my 12-year-old goes under his bed to calm down, then falls asleep. Right now, he's inside of a box.
Okay. Yeah, my son
That's
do that
awesome.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I think
And
my son when he was younger, he actually made his own like castle out of cardboard boxes. He would cut it up and like cover up the door,
that's
and that
cool.
that castle become his kind of countdown corner. It was like made out of Amazon boxes, pretty much. So
My kids love
yeah.
to build with Amazon boxes too, especially if daddy gets like a big item, so they're bigger boxes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. My son do that. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So.
What else should we consider when creating a calm down corner? I know we've gone through a lot of things so far.
Oh, that's a good question. So there's a few different things to consider. I already mentioned a few of them, but I'm gonna kind of repeat a few. Some of them might be repeating, but I'm just going to kind of summarize everything again. So when creating a countdown corner, there's several different consideration. Of course, first I mentioned earlier as well is accessibility. Make sure the countdown corner is easily accessible to your child. They should be able to go to the space whenever they need without having really need to ask for permission or need to navigate through a whole bunch of obstacles just to get to the space. Second, safety. That's very, very important to ensure the space is safe for your child. Remove any hazardous object or item that could cause harm. Make sure there's no electrical outlet or cord that in that space, and also make sure it's comfortable. choose the item that are comfortable and smoothing, such as the weighted product that we carry here at Lucky Kid, or some of the fidget item, or you can consider including the calming scents, like including the diffuser, like I mentioned earlier, and make sure you have some kind of calming light in the space, and also personalization. Allow your child to personalize the space with their favorite color or favorite superhero or favorite Disney princess, and decorate in the way that they feel like that is their space. And the item in there need to make them feel like they feel happy and relaxed. And also, rule and expectation, that's something I didn't do really well when I created the last countdown corner, like I mentioned before. We didn't really set a very, very clear rule and expectation on how to use it and what is supposed to be in that corner. So, having a clear rule and clear expectation will make sure your child understand when and how they can use the space and what kind of behavior are expected when they are in there. So, and use it as a positive reinforcement. Encourage your child to use the countdown corner by offering positive reinforcement. Praise them for taking initiative to use the space and reinforce positive behavior and attitude. And last but not least is regular maintenance, regular check and maintenance. The maintain the countdown corner to ensure it's clean, comfortable, and also welcoming. When you by considering all this factor, you can create a countdown corner that's safe, comfortable, and effective in helping your child regulate their emotions. So you can really help your child with emotional regulation issues.
I completely agree with the double check in every, like, once a week, every few days check in, because you never know if a marker might go in there and open, because I know my kids, they forget to put
Yeah.
the tops on, and you're like,
Mhm.
yay, it's dry, let's add some water. Or or like, if
Yeah.
someone, like, what would my son do? He would probably put like a Nerf gun or his ninja sword he got from Legoland, that's foam, and that might not be too
Yeah.
good. So we definitely love the Right and Chill lap pad,
Yeah.
which is right here. I have mine's a little worn because my son uses it a lot. Um, but because of that water base that you guys created with the Right and Chill, I don't have to worry
Mm.
about the markers, and the kids still get to be creative and design and do what they need to do as well.
For
Well,
sure. For sure.
thank you, Jason, for those super awesome, helpful tips,
Mm.
especially for those who are considering setting up a calm down corner for their kids. Now, here's an exciting part. We're going to give away something that would definitely fit your calm down corner. To win, just answer this question: how can your child benefit from having a calm down corner? So comment your answer now, and we will choose one lucky winner to receive a Lucky Kid product. Now, Jason, this is still going to be your moment. Can you please
Oh, okay.
tell us, our audience, where to find Lackey Kid?
Yeah, so you can find us at luckykid.com, obviously, and you can also search for our name on Amazon. You should be able to find all of our product. We This week we're doing some special promotion for two of our products. So our weighted uh lab animal, the one you see in the picture here, we're doing $10 off, and we're also doing a $2 off for the fidget bubble popper this week. That you can find more information on those deal at sensorydeal.com this week as well. So those are the best place to find us. And of course, you're already following us on social media. That's why you're watching this. So you can find us on social media as well. So
Now, for those of you who have just tuned in, you're watching Sensory Deal Live, where you find the best deals, the most awesome giveaways on sensory toys, educational tools, and kid products all in one spot. If you haven't answered our giveaway question yet, here's the question again: how can your child benefit from having a calm down corner? We are almost at the end of the show. That means it is going to be time to announce a winner. And we have one. So let's check some of these comments as they come in. Facebook user says, my son could benefit by having a place to be removed from sorry, to be removed from overstimulation of fighting with his sister and frustrations of computer games. I completely I completely get you there. I got one daughter who's 11 and two little kids, six. Well, Skylar's going to be 7 next month in April. So I have a 6-year-old and I have a 2-year-old. So, of course, you got to separate them sometimes. So I
Yeah.
make sure they have their own calming corners. So then they have their own little domain. They don't have to share because we have a small house. So we kind of try to get them to have their own. And Michelle, hey, Michelle. Sorry. Michelle says, I think it would help my girls learn better alternative solutions to express their emotions in a healthy manner versus acting out. I completely agree with you. And then Jamie says, it helps give them a safe place to be. I completely agree. Oh,
Okay.
Gigi! Sorry, we got another one.
Yeah. Oh, Jamie also say something.
Yes, Jamie said it gives them a safe place to be. And then Gigi says, my benefits by being away from his brother and having a peaceful place with his own special items. I completely agree. Now, is Gigi, is his bed his new area where his calming corner is?
Waiting for
Alrighty,
her
now
comment.
it is time to announce the winner of the giveaway. Jason, can you do us the honors and pick a winner? We have 4 people.
Okay, so this week is easy. Everyone wins. So all four get a free fidget bubble popper. So we have
Yay!
Michelle and Jamie and Gigi and I think the other Facebook user. I'm trying to find her name right now on my other screen. I think it's Nita Goes. I think. Sorry, I couldn't pronounce your name correctly. So I'm gonna put it in the chat. Is the winner. So those all four of you are winners. So please email us at hello@luckykid.com with your informations, and we'll send the prize to you early as early as our warehouse can ship it out. So
Awesome. Yay, congratulations everybody. That's what happens when you come on and you message.
yeah, everyone get one. Yeah, so easy. Yeah,
Thank you so much for joining me today, Jason.
yeah. Thank
That's
you
it
for
for
having.
today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We appreciate you all being here and talking with us and having
Yeah,
conversations. It's so much funner when we can conversate with
yeah.
you guys.
Yeah, and we are doing the autism awareness giveaway next month. More information is going to come shortly. We are like kind of finalizing all the details, but it's going to be very exciting because we'll be giving away a lot of product. It's not just Lucky Kid. Actually, it's going to be 6 companies' product. Yeah, including Hedgehog's product,
My
Handy,
favorite.
yeah, Handy Scenes product, and also Summerfly is another partner that we partner with. It's going to be a lot of prizes and we're giving away a bundle of four. Pretty much, if you win one, you get your instant countdown corner. Pretty much, so you
Pretty
get
much.
everything for the countdown corner. Everything that you will be winning next month during the autism giveaway is designed for like countdown corner or one way or the other. So please stay tuned for the upcoming announcement. We won't have a show next week. I'm traveling to Japan, attending a business event, but we'll have another show once I get back from Japan the following week. So no show unfortunately next week because I'll be gone, and someone need to do the button smashing as always in the background for the show to continue. But once I get back, of course we'll make announcement for the autism awareness giveaway, and we'll have another show talking about some other product and more information to come on that. And also for our ambassador program, if you are not part of our ambassador yet, we are still looking for a new ambassador to join among us and help us promote some of our product. So for those of you who want to learn more, you can visit luckykid.com/ambassadors to apply if you are not one already. So those are a few quick announcements I want to make. So
Awesome. Yes. Well, this has been Sensory Deal Live. See you all in 2 weeks, not next week, in 2 weeks for another Deals Filled Thursday. Bye, y'all.